Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Rasmo. So for today onwards, I will take requests and suggestions from my patrons. And one of my patrons in the Butternut tier requested for me to review this movie called Fantastic Mr. Fox. So thanks Christian V for letting me know about this movie. Let's not beat around the bush, I am excited to talk about this movie. Fantastic Mr. Fox is a 2009 stop-motion animated comedy film based on the 1970s novel of the same name. Now there's a bunch of differences in the book and movie. We won't go into that, but rest assured, the main plots of the story did come from the book. The movie is very grounded, but at the same time really silly and wacky. I'll talk about three things about this movie, okay? First is the story, next is the animation and music, and then the characters. Here is your warning to go watch the movie if you haven't, because this review is gonna have spoilers. I really do recommend you watch it. It's a great movie. I love it. Okay, all caught up? Huh? Don't care about spoilers? Alright, let's go. Fantastic Mr. Fox is directed by Wes Anderson with a massively big voice cast with Meryl Streep, George Clooney, Bill Murray, and Owen Wilson, to name a few. Ka-chow. It had a budget of $40 million and earned $46.5 million in the box office. So this movie is about this fox named Foxy Fox. He hunts for a living with his partner and soon-to-be wife, Felicity Fox. He stops stealing when he finds out they have a son, upon Felicity's request, and they named him Ash. Soon enough, they move on to a new house because Foxy doesn't want to live in a burrow where he feels poor, lives in a tree near the three biggest farmers, ignoring the massive red flags and warnings from Badger. He wants to relive his glory days, gets in trouble, brings everyone along to what trouble he caused, and it ends with them living in the sewers so that they can survive. Okay, so when I watched the trailer of this movie, I expected this to be the usual Hollywood formulaic movie of small animals having an adventure. I thought this was just animals living peacefully, but then humans came and destroyed their homes, and now they're trying to survive. And then they win against the humans and prevail, and oh boy, this movie packs more than that kind of story. The movie carefully thinks of each of the relationships of the Fox family, along with their extended family, Christophers and Silver Fox. And it also comes with this really wacky premise and the storyline of the movie. The thing that made me stay and keep my eyes glued to this story was the characters. They really put the effort into showing how these characters live and how they mix in together while they're living in the same house. This narrative really focuses on Foxy's character first and foremost, showing off his strengths and his flaws and how those flaws affect his marriage, his son, the whole freaking neighborhood, and others. When I watch a movie, if I see that it's focusing more on the characters' personalities and identity, I definitely know that I'm gonna like it, and Fantastic Mr. Fox was one of them. The comedy was great, the jokes are sometimes not in your face, and it's just subtle, and I freaking love it. I especially love the small side comments of the characters at scenes where you least expect it.
I'm bringing you in as my secretary and personal assistant.
Okay.
This is actually kind of a big deal, so don't just say, okay.
Okay, well, thank you.
It really made me chuckle. I didn't get a loud laugh, but I did breathe out of my nose and smile. That's worth something, I think. I loved seeing how Ash deals with his cousin being good at most things he wasn't, and grew to learn from Christopherson slowly but surely at the end. Speaking of the end, through all those tough struggles with the farmers, you think they'd be free and won, right?
You are without a doubt the 5.5 most wonderful wild animals I've ever met in my life. So let's raise our boxes to our survival.
Nah, this was really what made me like this movie a hell of a lot. They seem happy and cheerful, roaming around this supermarket and having a chill time in the sewers. But the speech reminds us that they're still trying to survive. They're trying not to die. The way the music stopped and the camera zoomed in on his face just to tell the audience that this speech and everything they're doing is just for their survival. That was something I did not expect, and I really like it. I appreciate the story not going to a happy ending. Rather, it went to a more realistic ending. Well, even though everything in this movie was rather over the top and silly, this part of the movie wasn't. Let's talk about the animation next. You guys know I love me my stop motion, but I'll admit the first time I saw the animation made me feel a bit uneasy with their fur moving even though there's no wind, their movements that seem so realistic yet far from natural. I'm not saying it's bad, it's actually pretty mesmerizing. There are certain scenes in the movie that if it wasn't animated this way, it would seem pretty boring to me, and because it was animated like this, it keeps my eyes glued to the screen, because every second something is moving, whether it be the whole body or just some sections of their fur. All in all, the animation is great, and I love how each animal was modeled. They're not overly cutesy to appeal to a bigger audience. They look like they were just ripped out of a children's book, and it was amazing. Also, I just want to mention this scene where every time they break into the farms of the farmers, they do a little dance first. I found it really funny, like every freaking time they do it. I want to address the music, but I don't really notice that aspect of a movie unless it's in your face and repeated like the Barbie franchise. I discussed that previously, you can check it out in the description or in the top right here. This movie has a lot of scenes with no music, but only white noise and background noise. And you might think that would be boring or draining, but it kinda makes it more relaxing and makes it feel like you are part of the family just going through every day. And I think that's pretty cool.
I must say, I'm pleased to be invited, but I'm not sure I should be doing this, Uncle Foxy.
Why not?
Because I don't like to be dishonest with people.
Well, just keep your mouth shut and it won't be a problem.
Before I go on to talk about the characters, I want to thank this video sponsor, 6 Clicks Band. 6 Clicks Band is currently working on a new album, and as a teaser for that album, they released the song Sugar High. The song kinda gave me a nostalgia trip for some reason. It reminded me of times where I was just 14 and just listening to bands like The Cab or 5 Seconds of Summer. Of course, we all have different taste in music, so if you don't like music like this,
your candy love makes me feel I can fly. I feel like I'm jumping on cloud 9. Is this what they meant by a sugar high?
then this might not fit your taste. But if you like indie pop rock bands like this one, then why not check it out? And hear me out, unbiased opinion, the video is pretty distracting and the arrangement has some rough edges, but the melody and the lyrics are charming and I can vibe to it. There's this kind of charm in this kind of song, I don't know. I especially like this part.
You're a figment of imagination. You're a pigment of my fascination. But I looked at as manly salvation. You're my motivation for revolution.
So check out 6 Clicks Band on YouTube. Link to their channel and the song Sugar High are down in the description. Thanks again 6 Clicks Band for sponsoring this video. Back to the video. Okay, let's talk about the characters. Of course, we start with Foxy Fox. The way the movie presented his character was great. It's subtle and just casually behind what's going on in the scene. But then by the end, they let Foxy himself point out and break down his charms and flaws.
I think I have this thing where I need everybody to think I'm the greatest, the quote-unquote fantastic Mr. Fox. And if they aren't completely knocked out and dazzled and kind of intimidated by me, then I don't feel good about myself.
And you just sit there listening to everything he's saying, knowing full well that he's right, because you've seen it throughout the movie. Look, I love the parts where he's energetic and witty and slick when it comes to escaping and fighting someone right in front of him, but my favorite moment of Foxy would definitely be his conversation with his wife, only because at this point he thinks of something else other than himself.
Maybe if I hand myself over and let them kill me, stuff me, and hang me over their mantelpiece.
You'll do no such thing.
Darling, maybe they'll let everyone else live.
Oh, why'd you have to get us into this, Foxy?
He was so desperate to feel alive again that he puts his family at risk, the whole neighborhood at risk. But at this point, he's willing to die for everyone to live peacefully. Of course, he didn't end up doing that because of his wife, and that ended up better than him dying, actually. Next is Felicity, of course, best girl right here. Felicity is a really feisty woman. She's also slick and witty, like her husband, but also stern and more logical, more practical, and really artistic. Her relationship with her husband was really nice to watch as the movie goes on. Even when her husband brings all this trouble, she never left him. She's staying strong for the family and for her husband. And to some, I'm sure they thought her saying this line in their conversation was harsh.
I promise you, if I had all this to do over again, I'd have never let you down. It was always more fun when we did it together anyway. I love you, Felicity.
I love you too. But I shouldn't have married you.
But to me, I don't know, I didn't really feel like it was harsh, or I didn't see that it was something that she said to hurt him. There are different ways to interpret that. The first thing I thought was that she regrets marrying him, not because she doesn't love him, but because Foxy lives life like a wild fox, always wanting adventure, wanting the thrill, the pride that a family dad title would not fit for him. Let me know how you guys interpreted that conversation. It's interesting to find different views on just one line. Though all of Felicity's lines are a treat, all her scenes are either funny or you just can't help but want to cheer for her. I also love how she's looking out for Christopherson and scolding Ash when he goes out of line with his cousin. And I mean,
How long is Christopherson supposed to stay with us?
Until your uncle gets better.
Right, but roughly how long do we plan to give him on that? Double pneumonia? Isn't really that big of a deal, is it?
Lower your voice, Ash.
Well, anyway, it's not half as bad as double pneumonia, right? I mean, his dad's got 1 foot in the grave and 3 feet on a banana peel. It's a lot worse than just a...
You have got 29 minutes to come up with a proper apology.
This boy does not hold back. My gosh, what is wrong with this child? Then there's Ash. He's a unique boy, and I love his character arc for learning to accept himself and his cousin. While watching this movie, I thought he wanted to be just like his dad. That's why he's so jealous of Christopherson being better all around like his dad. Even if he came from Felicity's side of the family, he started out as this really snobbish kid trying to impress everybody. But by the end, you realize that he is just like his dad from the beginning, wanting to impress everyone, wanting to be the best. I thought that was pretty clever because all this time I thought Christopherson was similar to Foxy. Instead, he's actually similar to Felicity, who's really good at a lot of things and is very mature. I also found Jason Schwartzman's voice very fitting for Ash. It's great. I freaking love the voice acting.
Me? Me have an apology? He gets a bandit hat? He just got here, he got a bandit hat? Where's my bandit hat? Why didn't I get shot at? It's because you think I'm no good at anything! Well, maybe you're right. Thanks.
Next up is Christopherson. I kind of like the dynamic when he was mixed in. There's so many funny situations, like how he's very polite, but at the same time, he's so willing to steal stuff with his uncle. He's like a really cool guy, but also the ride or die kind of person. He went with the father and son to steal stuff on separate occasions. He's good at sports, and he's basically a plot device for Ash and Foxy's character, but he himself is a character with problems, flaws, and charms, and that's really awesome. There's also some wholesome moments that are also funny, like when Ash didn't keep his sass in his pocket and he cried under the table.
Never mind.
Oh, you gonna pout about it? Because I've had it up to here with the sad house guest routine.
And from my perspective, I thought Ash felt guilty and played with his train, which both of them watched together, and I think that was pretty cute. And also when Ash was bullied and Christopherson just beat the crap out of this boy, and then he said this.
I can fight my own fights.
No, you can't.
I really enjoy those scenes. I also like the voice given to him as well as the voice acting. I thought it was Steven Yeun at first, because he sounds like him, but Christopherson is actually voiced by Eric Chase Anderson, an author, illustrator, and actor. I couldn't find much information on him, which kinda sucks, because it'd be nice to see what kind of illustrations he does or other roles he played in. Some characters that weren't really big on screen, but I just wanted to give a passing mention to the farmers. They're so freaking extra in everything. It's so fun to watch. And also Bean's wife. I love the running gag that her eyes are bad and then suddenly she wears glasses and then they're all screwed. So in conclusion, this movie is a definite 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed it and I'd love to watch it again, this time with my family. I really recommend you guys to watch this too. It's really interesting and adorable, and at the same time, it's kind of gloomy and serious, and I love it. I don't know how they managed to mix those kinds of themes in the movie, but they did, and I absolutely love it. If you want me to review a movie, go over to my Patreon and drop something that I can watch next time. The next suggested movie by Amanda Ronne-Idengen is Steven Universe the movie, and oh boy, let's open that can of worms in the next video, huh? So yeah. Look, between me and Christian V over here, we can guarantee that watching this movie does not make you a furry. Or it could. I don't really know. It's a 99.9% thing. Who knows? Nothing wrong with that. Fantastic Mr. Fox. Well, you know who else is fantastic? Amanda Ronne-Idengen. That's who. I hope I said your name right. I said it multiple times in this video. I hope I said it right. And of course, we can't forget about Kyle. He's too supportive, just like Felicity Fox. Who would have thunk? Seriously, who would have thought about that?